So hello people, Children's Church. We're gonna it's the first church of February, yippee! We're gonna be learning about Jesus feeding the 5,000.
Let's open our service in prayer today. Dear God, please be with us as we join together in our different homes around the city. Help us to learn more about you and learn from the Bible. Amen.
Hello, I'm doing a magic trick. It's called the bottomless cup. It's like it's as in maybe Jesus had a bottomless basket or something when he fed the 5,000. So 3 cups. I place one here and duplication and abracadabra, the bottomless cup. I've got 1, 2, 3 balls. Made the other 2 out of thin air, just like Jesus did maybe. And maybe he made another person too. The story is called Filled Full. You can find it in all the Gospels. It goes like this. There are once 5,000 tired and hungry and probably very grumpy people sitting on a hillside wanting their dinner. They'd come to hear Jesus that day. They came before breakfast, stayed all morning, all afternoon, and way past dinner. Nobody had meant to be out there that long, but it's how it was, listening to Jesus, as if time didn't exist. People could just listen to Jesus for hours, and on this particular day, that's just what they did. But they hadn't bought enough food, and they couldn't just go and buy themselves a burger and fries to go because, of course, they were in the middle of nowhere with no shops or restaurants. Besides, that kind of food wasn't invented yet. What would they do? Jesus' friends had an idea. Let's send everyone home for dinner. They don't need to go, Jesus said. You can give them something to eat. Did Jesus want them to travel all the way to town and buy food for everyone? Jesus' friends panicked. But we don't have enough money. What food do you have? Jesus asked. Go and see. Now there was a little boy in the crowd. He'd brought a lunch that his mother had made for him that morning. He looked at his 5 loaves and 2 fish. It wasn't much, not nearly enough for 5,000, but it was all he had. I have some, he said. Jesus' friends laughed when they saw his little lunch. That's not nearly enough, they said, but they were wrong. Jesus knew it didn't matter how much the little boy had. God would make it enough, more than enough. Jesus said, bring me what you have. And so the little boy gave Jesus his lunch. Jesus winked at the boy and whispered in his ear, watch. How in the world will Jesus feed everyone with just that? Jesus' friends said, because they thought it was impossible. But Jesus knew the one who made all the fish in the oceans. Jesus knew the one who in the very beginning had made everything out of nothing at all. How hard would something like this be for someone like that? Jesus took the little boy's lunch, looked up to the heaven, and thanked his Father. Then Jesus gave the little lunch back to his friends, and Jesus' friends started to hand out the food. Do you know what? It was the strangest thing. No matter how much they broke off, there was always more and more and more. Enough for 5,000. Everyone ate as much as they wanted. Second helpings, third helpings, even fourths. But until they were full, and still there were leftovers. While Jesus did many miracles like this, things people thought couldn't happen, that weren't natural. But it was the most natural thing in all the world. It's what God had been doing from the beginning, of course. Take nothing and making it everything. Taking the emptiness and filling it up. Taking the darkness and making it light. Now tell you our story with all our friends. Starring Jesus. One of the disciples, she's going to be the representative. And the 5,000 and a little boy.
There were once 5,000 tired and grumpy and probably very hungry people sitting on a hillside wanting their dinner. They'd come to hear Jesus that day. They came before breakfast, stayed all morning, all afternoon and way past dinner. No one had meant to stay out there that long, but that's how it was, listening to Jesus, as if time didn't exist. People could listen to Jesus for hours, and on this particular day, that's just what they did. But they didn't bring enough food. And they couldn't just go and buy themselves a burger and fries to go because, of course, they were in the middle of nowhere with no shops or restaurants. Besides, that kind of food wasn't invented yet. What could they do? Jesus' friends had an idea. Let's send everyone home for dinner.
Let's send everyone home for dinner, Jesus. Bunny brain wave. Let's send everybody home.
They don't need to go, Jesus said.
They don't need to go.
You can give them something to eat.
Yeah.
Did Jesus want them to travel all the way to town and buy food for everyone?
No.
Jesus' friends panicked. But we don't have enough money. What food do you have? Jesus asked. Go and see. Now there was a little boy in the crowd. He had brought a lunch that his mother had made for him that morning. He looked at his 5 loaves and 2 fish. It wasn't much, not nearly enough for 5,000 people.
We don't have loaves, we have breadsticks and sausage rolls.
I have some, he said.
I have some.
Jesus' friends laughed when they saw his little lunch. That's not nearly enough, they said.
That's not nearly enough.
But they were wrong. Jesus knew it didn't matter how much the little boy had. God would make it enough, more than enough.
Here you go.
Jesus said, "Bring me what you have."
Bring me what you have. Here you are.
And so the little boy gave Jesus his lunch. Jesus winked at the little boy and whispered in his ear, "Watch." How in the world would Jesus feed everyone with just that? Jesus' friends said because they thought it was impossible. But Jesus knew the one who made all the fish in the oceans. And Jesus knew the one who in the very beginning had made everything out of nothing at all. How hard would something like this be for someone like that? Jesus took the little boy's lunch, looked up to the heaven and thanked his Father. And Jesus gave his little lunch back to his friends. So the first of our prayer activities is going to be something to warm up our bodies, a whole body prayer. So make sure you've got some space around you, and then I'm going to do it first and then you can join in afterwards. We're going to start by doing 3 breaths in. God, you are above and below. God, you are inside and all around. I worship you. I give my life to you. I love you with all that I am. Why don't you have a go now? Join in with me. Let's do our 3 breaths. God, you are above. God, you are below. You are inside of me and all around me. I worship you. I give my life to you. I love you with all that I am. Let's finish with 3 more breaths. Great. So the second prayer activity we're going to do this morning was developed by Pope Francis actually, and it's a prayer practice which assigns each finger of your hand for something else to pray for. You've probably seen this, it's quite common. What you need to have is some paper and a pen and to draw round your hand. Spread out your fingers and draw around your hand. And then your thumb, which points to you, the first finger that's closest to you. We're going to pray for close family and friends. You can write on this piece of paper if you want to record your prayers or the people that you're going to pray for. And your first finger. So we're going to pray for teachers, NHS staff and church leaders. That's people who teach us, heal us and instruct us. And your middle finger, your tallest finger. We're going to pray for leaders. So mayors. The Mayor of Bristol is Marvin Rees, who is a Christian actually. We're going to pray for the Queen and government leaders. So people who lead our country, we're going to pray for them next. And fourthly, we're going to pray. Our ruby ring finger is actually our weakest finger. So this finger, we're going to pray for those who are weak. There are a lot of people struggling at the moment. So it'd be great to remember them in prayer and lift them up to God. And finally, with our little finger, we're going to pray for ourselves. Maybe you're struggling with something at the moment. Maybe you're just thinking about what you can pray for yourselves at this difficult time for all of us. Or maybe you're wanting to praise God and thank him. So why not have a go with your grown-up or whoever's with you. Draw your hand and then pray. Close family, teachers, NHS staff and church leaders, mayors, the mayor, Queen and government leaders, those who are weak, and praying for us, praying for ourselves. Hi, we're here to do our craft today, and what you need is a few pieces of paper. We've stuck them on our door, so you could use a strip of wallpaper or
do a hillside.
Lots of paper we've put down together. You ready?
Yeah.
Great. So we've drawn some grass on it, and it's going to represent our hillside. And this is something you could do, maybe in an area of your house where your family go together. And we have drawn some grass in it, and then we're going to get an ink pad here, and we're going to do some thumbprint people. So you're getting your thumb, and we're going to print them all over the hillside to represent 5,000 people. We're not going to actually do 5,000, but you could do lots of them. And then we're going to get a pen and draw on some arms and some legs and some hair and some ears and some faces. And if you want to, you could write names of people in your community that you want to think about and pray for to be filled up
I don't want to.
with God. You don't want to? Okay. But thank you for helping me, Jackson. So, boys, do you want to stand each side of the paper? Make sure you put your ink on the paper, not on your walls, because your grown-ups might not be happy with that. And also, a good tip is to have some wipes or some water nearby to clean your hands afterwards.
They will not be happy.
So do a few, boys, and then step back so we can see. They've got to be spread out, remember? Spread them out, Jackson, so we can draw arms and legs on. Spread them right out all over the paper.
I made a person. Hello.
Great. Okay, do you want to step aside so we can show you what we're going to do next?
Ta-da!
Okay, you've done lots on the top page. And remember, we've got the whole board to do.
Oh yeah, the Mona Lisa.
Let me just show what we can do next. So when we've got our thumbprint, we can draw some legs on it, some arms, and if you've got a dark colour, you can draw some eyes and smile. You can do a funny haircut. And this one I'm going to pray for. This person's called Jane. So I'm going to pray for someone called Jane. Let's go in a bit closer. Do you want to draw any? Some arms and some legs.
I had that one. I've done some red people.
Then let's go a bit closer.
Mind you, I'm not that good at drawing.
Well, it's good to have a go, Zaki. Doesn't matter what it looks like. It's good practice.
I was practicing labels at school, so I can do a label.
You can do a label. Who are you going to do, Jackson? Oh, lovely. Look at that. That's really fun. Mummy! 5,000 people all over our door. Have a go. Bye.
Stories of the Bible. Jesus feeds the 5,000. This is Jesus,
Heyo!
who is the Son of God and the Savior of the world. While Jesus was on earth, he taught everyone about God's love. He did many miracles and healed people of their sickness.
Oh, hey everyone!
A huge crowd kept following him wherever he went because they saw his miraculous signs as he healed the sick. A crowd started to gather around Jesus. There were 5,000 men and many more women and children. Turning to Philip, he asked,
Hey, Philip!
"Where can we buy bread to feed all these people?" You see, Jesus was testing Philip, for he already knew what he was going to do. Philip replied, "Even if we worked for months, we wouldn't have enough money to feed them."
Hey, I got an idea.
Then Andrew spoke up. "There's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that with this huge crowd?" Jesus said, "Tell everyone to sit down."
Right, everyone, sit down.
Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and gave them to the people.
Here you go.
Afterward, he did the same with the fish. And they all ate as much as they wanted.
Want some more? I'm all good, thanks.
After everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples, "Now gather the leftovers, so that nothing is wasted."
You got it.
So they picked up the pieces and filled 12 baskets with scraps, left by the people who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves and 2 fish.
So today we've looked at Jesus feeding the 5,000. And he took what was offered and used it to bless so many more people. That boy who had only his pat lunch, 2 fish and some loaves, who might have thought he had nothing worth offering. Jesus took it and blessed it, and it became so much more. That boy was brave and he was generous, and he offered it over to Jesus and the disciples. He gave what he could. He sacrificed having his own lunch for himself. I wonder if you would do the same. You might think you have nothing to offer, but maybe that is because you haven't really thought about it before. All we need to do is simply open our hearts and minds and focus on God. We can pray, "Lord, take what you need. This is what I can offer." Even if you just open your hands and say, "Lord, take what you need. This is what I have to offer." And I believe that God will work in magnificent ways. He will use what you have, even if it feels like nothing. Even if you do not know what your gifts and skills are, all He is asking for is a willing heart and a desire to follow Jesus.
There in the valley, I have all that I need. When fear is surrounding, your love guarding me. Goodness and mercy have never forsaken me. Oh, you've gone before me, you've scattered my enemies. I'll rest in the hope of your promise. You are good and your love, it will never change. No, you never change. I am found in the midst of your presence, where your grace will pursue me for all my days. For all my days. Covered by your shadow, in your arms I am free. Won't worry about tomorrow, your light is leading me. Goodness and mercy have never forsaken me. You've gone before me, you scattered my enemy. Oh, yeah. I'll rest in the hope of your promise. You are good and your love, it will never change. No, you never change. I am found in the midst of your presence, where your grace will pursue me for all my days. For all my days. Because of who you are, because of what you've done, death has lost its grip on me. I won't fear the night. You have brought me life. By your blood I am redeemed. Because of who you are, because of what you've done, death has lost its grip
worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa. Whoa. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Sing along now. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. That is who you
Thanks for joining us today for Children's Church, and we hope that you've enjoyed listening to the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. Remember, he can do amazing things. He can fill us up, and with not much, he can fill us up when we're feeling empty, and he can bring light to the darkness. So I just hope that you have a good week and you're able to think about those people that you're praying for. Remember your hands. Hopefully they can go up somewhere in your house. And we hope to see you soon. Do check out the website as well. There's some motivational moments and boredom breakers on there. There's also lots of links to worship songs and also lots of resources if you've got any spare time after your homeschooling. Take care. Bye.